Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Today on Bay TV. Although I like Today on Bay. Kevin, on a Wednesday, what is going on? I'm here with Huw Williams, who is the commercial manager of Coastal Housing, who have made a massive impact in Swansea and the city centre in recent years. I read a statistic today that a majority of managers are unhappy with their job title because it doesn't correctly kind of describe what they do. Would you fit into that category?
I've never thought of myself as being part of the managerial class, to be honest, Kev. So, no, it's just a title. It's I've been working, for Coastal, going back 10 or 12 years, and actually for a long time I was working as a consultant. So that's a total different kettle of fish. But it's just a job title that I.
When did the job of housing associations and social housing companies change to really being more responsible for commercial development as well? Because we think of social housing organisations as kind of taking over from the council and providing social housing, much needed social housing, by the way, in parts of the UK. But it's a lot more than that now, isn't it? Yeah,
well, I think it depends which associations you're talking about. Some have just got old, local authority stock, which is very different. I think Coastal, or Swansea Housing Association, as it was when I started my association with them, they're very much seen as a maverick in that field. So what I'm doing within the association is dealing more with the commercial portfolio. So there's a kind of a regeneration agenda there, which is something I think we've created ourselves, really, through opportunity. A lot of the stuff we do is opportunity-led things. So some housing associations are just doing, our core business is still social housing, but particularly in and around the high street, which we all know that there was a lot of problems in that street for a long time. So the idea was to go in and regenerate it through social housing, and the stuff that I've been involved in was trying to engage with the wider creative industries as a tool to hang the regeneration on. So that's been it started from a strategic thing, and I would still say we're in the early days of it, but it's having some kind of impact, I think.
I've often said how wonderful High Street was as a shopping centre. You get off the bus by the station, Edwards, a sports shop, Fine Fair on the left-hand side, down
Lennard's,
to the Lennard, Atkinson Sport was there, the best Woolworths in the whole of the country, that two-floor Woolworth, and up the other side, Littlewoods, W.H. Smith, Einens, the Bakers, Lewis, where people used to watch the money flying around. It was the heart of Swansea City Centre, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think there's various things. There's, the nature of high streets has changed, but then, specific Swansea thing, it's kind of maybe an urban planning thing that, obviously the shopping mall centre was built the other side of town, so over a period of time, things moved, and those kind of some of the chains that you're talking about moved, and then just things have changed in the city and exacerbated maybe by some of the provisions put in the area. And what coastals are achieving there is on some levels it's quite micro, but I think it's showing a way forward maybe for the city on a wider level in terms of the culture-led stuff, and particularly the wider creative industries, because people think of it as just arts and culture, whereas all the tech stuff that we're doing there, creating really good jobs, it can be quite significant as well. So that's the stuff that we're engaged with at the moment. I
want to ask you about the City of Culture and your involvement in that, but let me just ask you one more thing on housing. The plan in recent years has been trying to put more domestic dwellings in city centres, in town centres, to increase the footfall, to make it better for the traders. Is that working?
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff we're doing they tend not to be homes in terms of houses for families. We're still basically doing a lot of apartment stuff. So some of it is for people who are working in the city centre who maybe can't afford to travel in and stuff like that. And also you can see, particularly around High Street, there's quite a lot of student development going on. So what I talk about is the mix of it all, really. I don't think there's one solution. You want it to be similar to what you were saying back in the 60s and 70s, is that just a bit of vibrancy there. And there's a massive opportunity there with the train station, and there's no plans for the train station to move, so the gateway into the city can't, we just got to improve it rather than move it to other parts of the town,
Hub is the word now, isn't it?
Yeah, these things change. I think when I wrote the original strategy going back all those years, it was based on that whole Richard Florida creative cities thing, and some of that's kind of old hat. There's a lot of the stuff we're working on now is around what's called the foundation economy. So instead of just parachuting stuff in, it's looking at what is good about a place and building on that. So there's a certain amount of that we've done as well. It's very organic, and actually talking to the traders and the people we're dealing with, and trying to help them develop as well.
Some great things going on though, culturally.
Yeah.
You've got a theatre company in what used to be Bijams.
Yeah.
The Heist are putting them on more and more live shows. There's some lovely little art space there, gallery space there. So you must be greatly encouraged in such a short time what you've managed to achieve.
I think so, and I wouldn't. But we're still very wary about that. That we still think we're at the early stages of it, because it's quite. Last year we had quite a big piece in the Observer, right? And it was like in the business section, and it was when on the old Lewis Beecham store, this guy Charlie came. He's known as pure evil in the street art world, but he's from Swansea initially and put this thing, and that was the tipping point in terms of this particular Observer Guardian journalist who wrote this piece, and it was really good because it showed it was a UK exposure for it, and it kind of encouraged us that we were going in the right direction. But then I think people, you got to be. My background is creative industries and specific music industry, and actually we're really good at underselling it. You want things to be real when you really start shouting about it, and I think this is what Mal Pope's been talking about with the Heist, is that we know that we've still got a lot to do. So we don't want everyone to think it's the finished article. City of Culture bid, which you've referred to, which I'm sure we can talk about, it could be the next step to help us, make it more mature there and to push it onto the next level. Well,
let's talk City of Culture.
Okay.
It would be massive for the city. There's always going to be a little cynicism, and sometimes you can understand that. And people do get worried. Where councillors spending on one thing when they seem to be not spending on others. And we need to get it right in the suburbs. We need to get everything right. From potholes to street lighting. But this would be a massive boost to the city, wouldn't it? To be called the UK Year of Culture.
I think so, and I think it's I think cynicism's fine, and I think when I referred to that Observer thing, there was quite a lot of stuff around. This is just like kind of gentrification and all that, and it's like these are things. I think these are debates that Swansea needs, because particularly around High Street, a housing charity is not. Is not an agency for gentrification. It's not, it's private development and stuff like that, which you can accuse of those things. And so I think that's quite important to know. And I think in terms of the whole thing, the City of Culture stuff has to be led by the local authority. It's not as if monies are going to be spent on this, which would be spent on other things. I think it's whether or not people think it can be a catalyst to other private money and lots of other stuff. That kind of sense of well-being and all those other things, which sounds a bit fluffy. But in terms of the hard economic stuff, you can look at places, particularly Liverpool, which was the European City of Culture. It's had a massive effect, and it was similar to Glasgow. This is different. I mean, Hull, if we win it, it will be the third UK City of Culture after Londonderry. Had a massive impact there. And Hull, it is. And I think we've got to be confident do we think Swansea as a city has got something to offer and can really push on? I think it's really obvious that we can do a lot in the city around culture, and I think some of the stuff that we've done it's not just about galleries and things like that. It is also about economic stuff and proper jobs, because some of the stuff that we've done with Coastal is, and I'm not saying it's right, but it's not really doing a lot with chain stuff, not doing a lot with call centres, because we wanted to grow tech companies, and now they're growing quickly. They're all locally owned things and creating really good jobs for a lot of the graduates coming out of both the universities.
You partly answered the question that I had in mind. I moved to Liverpool around the Garden Festival time to work, and again, it was one of those events sponsored and founded by government to kind of bring a little regeneration. My wife's from Greenock, which is close to Glasgow. It's also close to Paisley, but say nothing about that. But both those cities have benefited from hosting events such as the Year of Culture and having that city status. It has brought them massive economic development.
I think so, but I think it's that thing. It's an opportunity for the city and the people of the city to decide what it looks like going forward as well. And it can't be this kind of just something dictated by, you know, the dead hand of the public sector, as I call it sometimes. And, you know, it certainly has to be about retaining not just graduates, but the youth of the city. And, you know, because, yeah, we've all, you know, as I say, worked in the music industry for many years, and I left Swansea, travelled the world and other places for a long time, and then came back and started doing some of this stuff.
Just very quickly, we've got 30 seconds left. It's December, next month, the decision's made.
Yes. Well, we've been there before. I've sat in what is now the Heist. It was something else at the time when we came third, and it's just hope we win it this time.
Huw, let's hope we win it. More power to your elbow. Thanks to Huw Williams for joining us this afternoon. I shall be back in a very short while, and Keith Milward will be talking to me. We'll talk art scene in South West Wales. Welcome back to Today on Bay. I'm Kev John, sitting in today, and I'm joined by our show business experts, Keith Milward.
That's one thing you're calling me.
How are you, lovely boy? All right?
Great to be with you, smashing.
Yes, unusual, isn't it?
Yes, it was really, well, so informal is great, isn't it?
We don't have the Chesterfield today.
Oh, no.
Do apologise for that.
Well, I'd be sinking into the...
So, no. Busy, lots of going on at the moment?
Going on, really is a lot going on.
What's at the Grand this week?
Well, it's Mind Game. Ooh. It's, you're showing the Nosferatu and talking about Bram Stoker earlier, so I think there's something in the air, because Mind Game, it's... writing of Anthony Horowitz, and this was written back in 2001. He's known for this particular piece. It's quite creepy, and it's about a crime writer visiting an asylum and speaking to a serial killer, you know, so goodness knows. You know,
he writes a lot for teenagers, doesn't he?
He does, and I know he's written for the Agatha Christie on television and Midsummer Night's Murders, or Midsummer Murders, and... yes, so I don't know, there's something around at the moment though, because I was saying earlier that I had a nightmare and I ended up kicking the wall, so so my feet are black and blue at the moment.
Any strange goings on around Keith's neck of the woods, you understand, for some unknown reason?
Yes.
He kicked the wall last night. So do we have a clip?
Oh, we've got a clip.
We have a clip. Oh, I like a clip. I love a clip. Well, apparently we haven't got a clip yet.
Oh, we haven't got the clip yet. Oh, well, that's all right.
So who's in the show, do you know?
Well, I'll be finding out tonight. I'm going to see it tonight, you know. So I do like a good thriller, especially in the Grand Theatre. It lends itself to it, doesn't it?
Perfect venue, isn't it?
Such an intimate space, isn't it?
And plays such as this, thrillers, are plays which British actors do very well.
Oh, yes, very much so, you know. So, yeah, I'm lining up tonight with everyone else to see the play. So it's on until Saturday.
Mind Games.
Yeah, Mind Game, yes.
We got a clip.
Oh, we got a clip. It's there, great.
So, Dr. Farron, why the name Fairfield?
We changed the name when I first arrived here. It used to be called the East Suffolk Hospital for the Children.
Andrew Ryan, very, very well-known pantomime dame.
Yes, I was thinking.
And writer, pantomime scripts.
Ah, there we go.
I used to love doing an Andrew Ryan script because you knew that you had lots to do because, of course, he would write for with himself in mind.
Of course. Yeah. Oh, well, that should be a good one.
Looks a bit scary, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, nail-biting, you know, so I'd be behind the seat, I think.
Oh, what else is happening?
Yeah, well, Sister Act's up in Neath.
Oh,
so it's Neath Amateur Operatic Society, and Leah Collett's been on the programme, and we're on the On Show tonight. We're talking to the cast of the Neath Amateurs. So Sister Act is a great piece, though, isn't it? So that's playing until Saturday.
But what I didn't realise about Sister Act, because I'd never seen the show, I still haven't seen the stage show. None of the songs from the film... They're not in the show, are they?
Alan Menken has
Whoopi Goldberg didn't want them in there.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Is it? Oh, the songs are really good, though. Yeah. They keep you...
And Alan Menken,
yes,
wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful writer.
Beauty and the Beast.
That's it. Little Shop of
Mermaids.
Little Mermaid,
yes.
Wonderful. Yes, terrific writer.
Which she wrote with Howard Ashford. I love the work of Howard Ashford.
Oh,
sadly no longer with us.
So, very much so, yes. And so that's in Neath, as I say, in the Gwyn Hall. And Pontedower Arts Centre then has the Lighthouse theatre company. It's touring a production of Hard Times, but it's in, you were talking to Sonia last week, weren't you? So it's the 9th that it's in the Pontedower Arts Centre, and it's Charles Dickens' Hard Times, of course. You know.
And very much, you know, of the time, really. People are going through tough times today, aren't they? And
that's right, yes.
Dickens was a great observer of life and wrote about Victorian society.
The backdrop, the background is a circus, isn't it, with Hard Times? Yes, I remember the musical and Roy Hudd being in that in the West End.
Wow.
Yeah, here we are.
Oh, well.
So Eye of the Storm then is Theatr Nanog is presenting in the Taliesin Theatre. So I'm hoping to get along to see that this week as well.
They have the most incredible reputation, don't they?
Oh, yes, yes. Well known for school productions as well, and doing a lot for young people to be encouraged to the theatre. And this is a musical play, I'm told.
Yeah, some great music.
Yes, and
Amy Wadge wrote the music.
Yes, Amy Wadge, Sariel, and Gaynor Styles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gaynor Styles, and our friend Llynos Daniels in this as well. Yes, so I know she's singing. And in the Dylan Thomas Theatre, very aptly, it's Under Milward is there this week as well. So that's Swansea Little Theatre. So our favourite characters from Llaregab, isn't it? And it's all the mad, the weird, the sad characters as well.
Yeah, I love it.
You've
yeah, I taught some years ago now, but we did a Welsh national tour of Under Milward, and probably one of the most enjoyable experiences I've ever had. You know, I'm a big fan of Dylan Thomas. I love performing Dylan Thomas. I love reading Dylan Thomas and talking Dylan Thomas. But Under Milward to me is like a soap opera. He's a great observer of life and the characters. So, and you know, growing up, not to steal your thunder, but growing up in Plasmal, there was Cyril the postman, there was Davy the post, there was Audrey the baker, and John's the milk, and all these characters, which were part of Plasmal life.
My grandfather was Harry Made the Bread.
Harry Made the Bread, you see.
Yes. But remind us what characters you played.
I played the Reverend Eli Jenkins.
Fantastic.
I can't remember. I played Willy Nilly. He was my favourite. Willy Nilly, the postman. There was a company. I think there was Captain Cat. There was the narrator, and then there were 3 men, 3 women, and we did the roles. You know, because it's a hugely expensive.
Very special. Dylan Thomas so appreciated in America. We are appreciating him here, but very much appreciated because we used to sing when we were in America. We used to sing the Eli Jenkins prayer, and the Americans would absolutely love it. They'd be captivated, you know.
I went to the pub. Is it the White Horse in New York? Where I used to go, and it's full of Dylan Thomas memorabilia. And I took a poster of Under Milward with us, and they say, yeah, we'll put it up. I don't know if they did. But it was wonderful to see like Heinz tomato ketchup bottles on the table with the sauce running down, just as if it was in a transport cafe in Wales, you know.
Well, yes, special place. And of course, this weekend, the many remembrance concerts. I've had one brought to my attention. It's Dunvant Male Choir. I live in Dunvant, you know. So the concert's actually in Capel y Croes, and it's with Penclawdd, in Three Crosses. So Penclawdd Brass Band, and the wonderful and beautiful Ros Evans is singing as well, you know. So that's going to be a terrific night, I'd guess, on Saturday, you know. So there's many things to enjoy, from horror and terrifying plays to musicals, as I say, for example, in Neath, and the musical play in the Taliesin, and then classic plays like the Under Milward as well. Yeah, so lots
and go along, please go along and support the many Remembrance Day activities that are happening in the area. There's one at the Brangwyn Hall on Saturday night as well, and I think on Sunday I'm going to Whitehall. I'm in London on Sunday, so I think I have been once.
Very emotional.
I'm hoping to go there and see those incredible old soldiers.
Yes, I've been once.
Marching. It's a remarkable experience.
Yes, it is.
And I almost think it should be compulsory for everybody to do it once, you know?
Yes, I think so.
And so there we are. Abbey Players, they've got a Christmas Carol.
Yes, that's coming up
very soon, isn't it?
Yes, within the next 2 weeks.
In the Grand Theatre as well.
And then we've been on my radio show tomorrow night.
Excellent,
you know, so I had a surprise last week out down Radio Tircoed. Cilla Black Sun rang in, you know, so that was something, because Cilla the musical has been playing in Cardiff. So tomorrow night there's Abbey Players promoting their production of A Christmas Carol, but I hear it's very, very popular. But Dickens is popular this time of the year, with Hard Times, as we say, up in Pontardawe. But A Christmas Carol is always a favourite, isn't it? You know.
Keith, always a joy, my friend. Never a chore. Bless your heart for coming in and joining us on the show today. It's a one-off Wednesday for me, so but we've called it Today on Bay for the day.
I love it. I love it. It's going to stick.
So there we are. Thanks to Keith for joining us today. Thank you at home for tuning in. I'll be back as usual this Friday with Friday Lunchtime Live from 1 o'clock. All the usual things. And I'm going to Matt's Cafe on Friday as our special Out and About feature. So wherever your day takes you, have a safe one, stay warm, and we'll see you on Friday.